I had a question in my mind and it went away. Well, it's 10 in the morning. That is true. The coffee is wearing off slowly. I guess the other question I have is, is there a chance we're going to see any thoughts you might have for another book series that might be in the future that you might be able to share?
Another book series. Eventually, I'm going to write my science fiction series, the U.S. Marshal ones. That's the one I was about halfway through the first one when Alera sold, and so I had to kind of drop it and to go work on the second book in the Alera series. And I remember leaving my protagonist having ejected from his ship in orbit over the moon, in a decaying orbit over the moon with a solar flare coming on, and he's been there for like 3 years, 5 years. Long time. I'll get to that eventually at some point. I think the next project I'm going to write with my friend Cam Banks, who, if you're part of the gaming industry, you probably know who Cam is. But he's authored several short stories and a novel called The Sellsword, which was one of the Dragonlance novels, which I thought shows a lot of potential for what he can do as a writer. And he's a good friend and such an easygoing guy. I think he's one of the only people I could write a book with without murdering. But I think that's going to be the next project. We're going to do an apocalyptic fantasy kind of thing.
Will it be epic?
Well, but it's not really going to be epic. Well, I mean, apocalyptic and world shattering and so on. Because why not? But it's not going to be my epic fantasy epic, which I'm planning on writing at some point when I'm up to it. I'm still kind of building my skills to be able to write my epic fantasy epic. But that's just what I call it, So my poor wife, she has to put up with that kind of thing. Hey, Shannon, my epic fantasy epic? Jim, we're sleeping. That kind of thing. So do we want to do some questions?
Yeah. Why don't you start with a pub Q&A?
No, we're a microphone. So if you've got a question, we'll form a line over by the microphone, and I'll get through as many as I can.
You want to ask a question? What? You want to ask a question? Go for it. Go for it, Sam. All right.
I might see by the end. I might be better.
And if you
my question. If I don't get it.
Okay, do we need to break out do we need a belt and a couple of knives and we'll settle who's going to be first, or are we ready to go? Okay, please.
Yes, Jim, I have a question for you. In the last book, Changes, I noticed that Harry Dresden found out that Ebenezer was his grandfather. The question I had was, Ebenezer has an antipathy towards the white court, and Thomas doesn't like the white council. Is Harry going to let them know about them being related, or are they going to find out themselves?
That's one of those questions that I'm not going to answer because it's more fun for you to find out.
That's good. I just wanted to know if it was going to be in there, and that answered my question.
Oh, yeah. We haven't begun to mess with that yet. Yeah, we'll have a good time with it though.
When you're writing, how early do you plant seeds for future books? For instance, in Summer Night, Harry earns the leash from the Summer Court, and that becomes pivotal in Small Favor.
Mm-hmm.
How far ahead do you know what he's going to do with, for instance, that leaf?
I put stuff in Stormfront that won't come out until the big trilogy at the end. I mean, I kind of planned a bunch of stuff out way ahead of time because my teacher said I had to.
Well, I really appreciate that piece of your work, part of your style. About how many loose threads do you think you still have hanging that we don't know about?
About how many what?
Loose threads waiting to be tied in later?
I can't think of them as loose threads. I mean, from where I am, I kind of see them as, I know where it's going to go somewhere. I think we've got a good, solid, pretty much we've got all the pieces out on the board right now, except for a couple that are going to be emerging because of the events of changes, which is going to be lots of fun. Or at least I'm having a great time. I hear different things from the reader end of things. There was actually a cartoon on the net. I don't know. There was one of the, kind of a net tune one frame is showing this guy going, "Leave me alone. I'm getting to the very end of changes." And the next frame is a couple of girls, and one of them's looking sort of odd, and her friend's like, "What?" She's like, "I just got this weird sensation, and it's as if thousands of nerds have suddenly cried out." I thought that was pretty hilarious. I'm sorry if there's anybody bothered by the nerd thing. I kind of own my nerddom, so. Yeah, we're all here together. Please, next.
First, when it comes to nerddom, I'm guilty as charged. Second, are you still active in like the mushes and those communities?
No, I don't really. I haven't mushed for quite a while. I think the last time I was really seriously mushing was in the late 90s at some point. But it is kind of, that is where I got a lot of things started. And I mean, it's where I met Fred of Evil Hat and several other people who I still run into from time to time. It's always kind of funny meeting people and figuring out how many people already know some friend of mine that's over the net or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, it really is a small world." And I'm like, "No, it's not a small world. There's just a limited number of people who have a clue." and we're all kind of in the same community, so we're bound to bump into each other and do that 6-degree thing.